Okay, we're going live. We are live. It says so. It says I'm live. So hello guys. It's Adult Beverage Friday, my usual schedule. I do a live stream on Fridays right after my Thursday release video. So how do you like that video, guys? Nobody is watching it. I don't want to make a video that you guys don't like. I thought it was kind of important, but I guess the majority of you didn't like it. So it's not being well received. So maybe it's too basic for some of you. I don't know. You let me know. You just type in the comments and let me know what you think about that last video, because it's important for me to have done it. I think it's kind of critical because it's a question always asked of me, and I just had to answer it because I need to always be able to reference it. But it's just difficult when I make videos that are instructional and nobody watches that. People like to see the crisis, the drama. If I say there's a drama, I don't offer a solution, they'll watch that. But if I actually talk about a solution, then they're not going to watch it because somebody's going to say, well, nobody's going to waste time doing that. Well, I don't know. I don't know. I don't know what to do. So I just keep doing what I'm doing, and it doesn't matter, short-term reactions. In the long run, it's going to work out. But if you haven't watched it, go watch it. It's about how to do email, kind of like how to set up your email, assuming you've screwed up email in the past, which is likely 99% of us, and want to move forward with a better solution for a long run, instead of just saying, well, I'm just going to leave it alone. One of the worst things you can do is just to leave your email alone in Gmail or Outlook or Yahoo, where they're reading your email every day, and it's like, you really want to do that? You really want to leave that there? That's really, really weird. So anyway, if you haven't watched it, watch it, and give me some feedback, and tell me what kind of videos you'd like to see. If instructionals are not what you prefer, then I'll do less of it. I have to do it still. I mean, instructionals are very important. Educational videos versus just warning you problems. I can't just be sitting here warning you problems and not offering solutions. So it's kind of like YouTube is not meaning you, the viewers, are not rewarding those kinds of videos, which kind of tells me as the creator that I shouldn't be doing them. So I don't know. And certainly it wasn't a political topic or anything like that. It wasn't anything dramatic. It's just, how to do your email right. So watch that. But one of the things that is going to be pertinent to the topic tonight is if you really want to get a safer solution, rather than just fixing email, what if there was an alternative? And the alternative I'm going to introduce you today is Xmpp. And people are like, what is that, Xmpp? I actually have videos on it. I have many videos on Xmpp. I've talked about it in the past, but I'm just going to do a brief one. It's not very complicated. We'll just teach you very basically how to do it. And it's an alternative, and to be honest with you, it is, in my opinion, safer than Signal. It's a very, very safe way of communicating, and probably the safest that I can think of that's fairly easy to use. It's not that complicated, and it works on every platform. So it works on a PC, Linux, Windows, Mac, Android, iOS, the Google phone. It works on all of them. So because of that, it's flexible. It even works as a kind of like an email client, so that it looks like email. Even the format of your address looks like email. So because of that, it's it's not that complicated to implement, especially if you're going to think about, oh, I wonder if I can use this for office use. You can actually use it for the office because it's, since you can instruct people how to use it, it's not that big of a deal. It's probably harder to get grandma to use it because you have to set it up to use that, but you can still do it. It's not really that hard once you use the apps, but it's something I want to introduce you to, and you decide for yourself. I just want to make sure there's an alternative to email, because email, as I said, is not safe. So we can do XMPP on Raspberry Pi if true? Yeah, XMPP runs on Linux, although why you would do it on Raspberry Pi is kind of the question. Why Raspberry Pi specifically? I mean, you must have a ton of other devices. So anyway, we'll talk about that in a moment, and just kind of housekeeping stuff. Again, this is a live stream, so if you're like expecting something scripted and I have a specific thing to say and I end exactly on time, that doesn't happen at a live stream. Live stream is basically on your comments, and I react to what's being said, and it's very unplanned. So people say, oh, you're doing oohs, ahs, and pausing and all that, and you're not very prepared. Well, yeah, do a live stream. I've been doing live stream for 7 years now, so try that. Can you de-Google Pixel 5? Yes, I have. Actually, I have one. I have one Pixel 5. Let's see here. Where'd I put it? Yeah. I haven't put it in the store. It's a Pixel 5. It's Sage. Somebody ordered it and didn't want the Sage, so this is the only Pixel 5 I have. They're not quite common yet to find used. So if you want one, there is. It's gonna go for about $800. So I have one. It's not in the store. So yes, so I can do a Pixel 5. So anyway, guys, the other thing is that the live stream portion here, where I talk, is for 30 minutes about the topic that we want to talk about. It's in the title, and then after that, it's free for all. If you don't want to stay after that, it's Q&A. So I'll take any kind of question, and it'll be free form. We'll go for another hour on that. So if you're not into that kind of format, don't complain in the comments. Just shut it off at 30 minutes and forget about the rest. If it's important, I'll make another video about it. But yeah, just shut it off at the end. I just don't need to see another comment saying, "Oh, your videos are so long." Somebody made a comment on one of my videos that I wish your videos were 10 minutes long. No. If my videos were 10 minutes long, I wouldn't have any viewers. So we all specialize in certain things, and my channel specializes in detailed explanation. That's what I do. I don't just give you kind of a general, statement without any kind of proof. I often go into detail so those who are inclined to can research to make sure that what I'm talking about makes some sense from a technical point of view. So I always back it up. And in order to back it up, I have to often set up the premise and come up with a kind of like a full essay. So my videos are like an essay. Every video is an essay on privacy, and it's full and complete from beginning to end, and mostly a standalone. It can stand on itself because I explain at least a little bit of what it's all about, and then go to the body of it, and then explain a solution or whatever I'm going to explain. So that's the format. If you don't like that, then that's too bad, but that's not my market. So we all have to focus on the market. I have to kind of quantify the message, or make the message clear to the viewers. And this channel is different because of the detail. That's been the difference. You cannot find any channel like mine. I am now the #1 privacy channel on YouTube. My measly 343,000 subscribers. I know it's a very small number, but that makes me today the #1 privacy channel here on YouTube. And we got to get that up to, 1 million at some point here. But this is now the largest privacy channel on YouTube, and it's really very cool considering I was only like at 100,000 at the beginning of this year. So yeah, it's going slow though. I hope to be way past 400 by the end of the year. I hope, if we're lucky. Otherwise, we just keep plugging along. keep plugging along. We can only do what we can do, because the problem is we got to get the message across. Anyway, this is not a complex topic, what I'm going to talk about today. It's not a very long topic. That's why I can afford to go and ramble about something else, because it's very short. And that is about XMPP. So what I found out is there are many ways to use different kinds of messaging systems. Some of you are really bad because you follow what your friends do, and you go into WhatsApp, because like some countries like Brazil, where they're like so obsessed with WhatsApp. India is another one, and they're going to stick to WhatsApp. I want to make a comment about Facebook later on. You know, this whole whistleblower thing. I'm not sure. I may make a video. It depends on what you think about it. But anyway, there are many other solutions for messaging. As example, there's Signal. There's Telegram. There's Matrix. There's Discord. That. None of those are secure. Discord is certainly not secure. And there's even Brax.me, my own. And I don't even promote my own platform. That's not really what I do here. I don't even promote my platform, because I don't really, it doesn't matter to me if I get users or not, since that's not the way I make my living. So the main thing that I found when I examine all these platforms is there's a flaw in each one. Each one has a flaw. WhatsApp, the flaw is Facebook. WhatsApp is tracking your metadata like crazy. So you may have a seemingly private encrypted conversation, but in the background, Facebook is trying to see who you're talking to and what are their Facebook accounts, what are your connections on Facebook, and drawing those conclusions there without even having to read what you're saying, and tracking your locations and all of that, and tracking MAC addresses and all the evil things that Facebook does. So there is no sucking way you're going to get me to go use WhatsApp. That is so evil. I do not recommend you use WhatsApp. I don't care if you have one of these de-Googled phones that I sell. You're not going to want to put WhatsApp on this. I mean, if you do, then you're kind of wasting it. You're wasting it. The whole point of this is not to be tracked, and you put WhatsApp in here and you're going to be tracked. You do not put any Facebook property on a phone. So WhatsApp is a pretty evil platform, like all of Facebook in general. And then you got options like Signal and Telegram, to name a couple, that use a phone number. Now, I use Signal, but I use Signal in a very limited way. If one of you said, let me talk to you on Signal, I will never talk to you on Signal. Because for me to talk to you on Signal, I have to give you my phone number. Why the zuck would I give you my phone number? Why would I do that? So somebody wants to talk to me on Telegram, I have to give you my phone number. Why would I give you a zucking phone number? That's pretty zucked up. A phone number today, especially today, is such an identifier. I mean, you can look it up. There are there are contact lists that show exactly who owns that phone number and who's connected to that phone number, and all the other friends and their phone numbers. Why would I ever think about using a phone number? For that reason, I only use Signal or even Telegram. I don't really use Telegram much. I've been forced to use Telegram a couple of times, but not much. But the only reason I would think about using Signal is with family. Why? Because they already know my phone number. It doesn't matter. I mean, I can give them my phone number and we say we can talk in Signal. So my entire family knows that the only way they can talk to me is through Signal. This is for family. They cannot talk to me on Facebook or anything else. So they finally moved to Signal, and so far they're not having any problem with that. They're all talking to me on Signal. The choice is either the Signal or no communications with me. They're talking amongst themselves on, they say, Messenger. That's what I hear. So they're talking to each other on Messenger. And I said, Zuck you. You're not going to go find me on Zucky Messenger. Okay? So any way to talk to me in Signal. But I would never, let's say one of you said, oh, can I talk to you? Can I talk to you on the phone on Signal? No, not going to happen. Can I talk to you on a real phone? No, not going to happen. So, no, I'm not going to give you my phone number. So, what's the option? When somebody, like a stranger, wants to communicate with you, how do you do it? There's a couple of ways, and it depends on if you want to use video or if you want to use text. So, this is not the topic for tonight, but if you're going to use video, the best way to communicate with video is with Jitsi, Git.si, Jitsi, like jujitsu, but it's like Jitsi. And their website is meet.jit.c. I didn't prepare a slide for that because I wasn't going to mention it. So Jitsi is for video, and it's pretty easy to use. You pull up a browser. You could run the app if you're on a phone, and or you just pull it up on a browser, and it works. And it's very simple. You just pass a link. You can pass a link by text and say, here, meet me here. You click on it, you're there. You don't need any login, no sign up, no nothing. You basically go into there, set up a session, invite people with the same invitation ID, and that is it. And there's no metadata. You don't have to sign up. You don't have to create an account. Nothing. No metadata, because you don't have to be identified. It's perfect. No metadata. There is no way to connect people in there because there's no identifier. You didn't provide one. And the fact that Jitsi itself is a federated, meaning there are many, many servers, there's no way to centralize the collection of IP addresses if somebody wanted to do that. It doesn't exist. So it's perfect for that. Now, why is Xmpp recommended? Xmpp is more of a texting protocol. Xmpp is for texting, not for video. When you do video on the Xmpp, you're actually using Jitsi. So Jitsi is the way to go for video. But if you are going to use text communications, then I recommend Xmpp. Hold on a second. It's possible to combine all these messaging via common routing application platform, enabling more secure communication. You know, Signal did a good job of kind of like, you know, making it one, because on Signal you can do group communications, you can do email, you can do voice, and you can do video. So Signal kind of integrated it all, but it's really not suited for group things. So group things, you know, I'm going to say it's really basically Xmpp and Jitsi, and with that you can do pretty much everything. So you use Jitsi for voice communications and video. Use Xmpp for everything else. Now, what exactly is Jitsi? Is Xmpp. So Xmpp is not an app. So you're going. Some of you are like saying Xmpp, and then some of you say PP, XML. You know, they don't even know what the letters are. Xmpp is only a protocol. It is actually not an app. Xmpp is not an app. It's a protocol. It's a standardized way of sending chat messages that has been around for a long time. In fact, Yahoo IM and Messenger IM, there's many platforms that do instant messaging that actually use Xmpp. And guess what, folks? Guess what? WhatsApp is actually Xmpp. WhatsApp is Xmpp. So what WhatsApp did is say, okay, we're going to use Xmpp, but we're going to make it private. We're going to make it a single server controlled by us, and we're going to tweak it a little bit so it looks a little bit different. But basically, the basic infrastructure of WhatsApp is Xmpp. So Xmpp is very broadly used. It's, like I said, it's used by a lot of chat programs, either by Yahoo and many app programs, Microsoft. They all used Xmpp, but the original standard, Xmpp, is still around and it still stands. Now, so Xmpp is only a protocol. It is not an app. It is not an app. It's just a protocol. So it's just a way of conversing. Kind of like email. Email goes through the internet, and each one of you uses a different email client. Some of you use Thunderbird, some of you use Outlook, some of you use Apple Mail. Whatever your client is, it could be different depending on the platform, but depending on the device. but the protocol is called SMTP IMAP. Those are the email protocols. Well, Xmpp is its own protocol. In fact, if you're running Thunderbird as an email client, there's actually a chat tab, and in that chat tab you can establish an Xmpp account, and then you can receive Xmpp messages on Thunderbird. So just so you know that. So it's actually possible to do that. Now, Xmpp has evolved. Xmpp has evolved. One of the things that Xmpp has done is to add end-to-end encryption. Okay, now Xmpp no longer doesn't even have any metadata. So if two people were talking on Xmpp and I'm Rob at xmpp.brax.live and you're nobody at conversations.im, which are two different Xmpp providers, it doesn't really identify you. I mean, nobody knows anything other than what is in the email. There's no like lookup to see any other information about Rob at xmpp.brax.live. There's no other information given. I don't need anything to sign in. To sign in, all I do is provide a username that's not used, which I can invent. I can call myself nobody as well. I can use the same name as somebody else, as long as I use a different server. So it's kind of like an email address. There's no real limitation. Because of that, there's no real metadata. So even if you don't encrypt, Xmpp is tremendously safer than email. For one, your communications are all encrypted from the server to you at all times. No one can really intercept that. So interception is not possible with Xmpp. But if you want end-to-end encryption, you can do it on Xmpp if the server supports it. And the support for Xmpp encryption comes in two forms. One is called OTR, and the latest one is called OMemo. So if you enable OMemo, then it's end-to-end encrypted. Now you do not need end-to-end encryption at all times, because, for example, Thunderbird does not support end-to-end encryption. You need to use a different client. But if you use end-to-end encryption, then you're about as secure as Signal and everything else. It's equally as secure as Signal without the metadata, which makes it even more secure than Signal. So for that reason, Xmpp is pretty awesome. Now, what do you need to do Xmpp, guys? So again, this is brief. It doesn't take a lot of time. All you have to do is pick a client, and I'm going to give you the list of clients there. If you're Android or the Google phone, look for the app called Conversations. Now, I use the one on F-Droid. So Conversations is the name of the app, okay? And that runs on Android. So just download Conversations, or just go to the Conversations site and download the app directly from there, and you will be able to do Xmpp protocol using that app. On Windows and Linux, you use a app called Gajim. So you download Gajim, you go to the Gajim website, download the app, and you can install it on Windows or Linux. On iOS, there's two choices. I'm not sure which one is better. You get better reviews on Syskin IM, and then there's Manal. So either one. I've tried them both. I don't know which one I like better. In a way, I guess Syskin looks flashier a little bit. Manal looks more simplified, but I'm sure they both work. So those are the options. So you can be on any platform. Just choose the app that fits the platform. Kind of like choose the email client that fits the platform. Now, when you go into an app like Conversations, it's going to ask you to log in. Well, you're going to say, log into what? And it says create account or log in with an existing account. And you're going to say, well, I don't know what that means. Well, the reason you're not going to know what that means is because you need to belong to an Xmpp provider. There has to be some service providing Xmpp. So unlike, kind of like email, you go to email, you have to set up an account on Gmail, for example, or Yahoo or Outlook. That's the same thing here. You got to set up an account on some service provider. So a lot of you will not know where to go to start a provider on Xmpp. Now, if you do the app Conversations, they actually offer their own one. It's called Conversations.im, and it's paid. It's a paid service. You got to pay them so much a year. It's not expensive, but it's a paid service. But if you don't want to do that and you want to try it out, well, guess what? Use mine. So I'm offering a free one. It's called xmpp.brax.live. Nothing fancy. It's just a server. And when you're on an app like Conversations and you go to sign up, so you go to that and sign up for an account. Then we'll ask you for the server name. The server name is xmpp.brax.live. That's the name of the server. Do not go to that server on a browser and say, oh, it says I have to join xmpp.brax.live. So you go in a browser and join. No. The only way to access XMPP is from a client app that does XMPP. So you go use my free one. It's xmpp.brax.live. I'm providing it for free to the community. At the moment, if it gets abused, I'll restrict it to my customers. But at the moment, it's free. And so go to xmpp.brax.live from your app and sign in. And now, what do you do to sign in? When you sign in, you assign yourself a username, some username that is not in use on xmpp.brax.live anything. Let's say you want to use rob@xmpp.brax.live, then that becomes your XMPP address, which is kind of like an email. rob@xmpp.brax.live, which is not my address, so don't try to talk to me on that. But so rob@xmpp.brax.live becomes your XMPP address. It's kind of like an email address. So once you establish that, you just have to put a password in and you're done. That's it. You're done. Now, if somebody wants to talk to you, what they have to do is say, well, what is your XMPP address? And you say, hey, you can talk to me. I'm on rob@xmpp.brax.live. And, and you're James Mason at xmpp.brax.live or conversations.im or jabber.org or whatever. There's a bunch of different free providers out there and a lot of paid ones. And then you just communicate like that, kind of like email. So if you're talking in the same server, which is xmpp.brax.live, which is mine, then your traffic never even leaves the server. So you actually don't even appear on the internet. Everything is encrypted and you don't even, nobody will notice you. It's like your own email server. So, and XMPP offers end-to-end encryption. Nobody can read anything on XMPP. I can't read what you do on XMPP because if you use memo, it's end-to-end encrypted. So I can't even, there's nothing I can do on xmpp.brax.live. It's pretty secure. There's no metadata. I don't know who signed up. I don't know what your names are. I don't know anything. So many of you have already used xmpp.brax.live because I had a video about it. So you can still use it. I turned it off for a while because nobody asked me, and I turned it off, and by popular demand they wanted me to turn it on again, so I did. And this is the reason I'm talking about it. It's just a service I'm providing. It's not, there's nothing in there for me. I'm paying for the server, and just my payback to the community. You guys are helping me with my platform here and with my videos and buying my products. And it's a service I offer. If you're poor and you don't want to pay a single dime, there's not a dime to be charged to have safe communications on xmpp.brax.live. Now, the only thing I can say is a lot of you leave me messages on XMPP because I did publish my XMPP name in the profile here on YouTube, but I don't have time to answer. I don't have. I have hundreds of you talking to me on xmpp.brax.live. I can't even keep up with it. I'm already on BraxMe. I answer on BraxMe. I can't answer on two platforms. BraxMe is already secure. BraxMe is a secure platform. And I run it, so it's even more secure. So I know communications to me are extra secure on BraxMe. So it's already encrypted. I don't need to go elsewhere. But among yourselves, you might, you want to have the utmost reliance on security, and it's very easy to use Xmpp, because if you're not worried about OMemo, you can use it even on Thunderbird. It can be an email client, so it makes it kind of like part of your email system. It doesn't even, you can't even tell if you're doing email or Xmpp, because it's just another folder. So, which makes it kind of simple. So if you want to do that, there it is, Xmpp Live. It's very, very simple, and those are the apps that are available to you. So again, a very, very simple lesson today. Doesn't take much time, and there you are. I made it to the 30-minute mark, completing the discussion, even though I inserted so many different topics. This video, by the way, is sponsored by Linode. Now, in case you're wondering, yes, Xmpp Live is on Linode. I have everything on Linode now. I've actually put 99% of my servers on Linode. I had so many ISPs before, including Amazon AWS, and I have very few servers now on Amazon, and most of my traffic is now on Linode. Linode is cheaper, better service, and they're just nice to me. I mean, obviously they're my sponsor, but the people who support me have no idea that they sponsor me. They just do tech support, and they make life easy for me. They always come up with shortcuts to help me. They're not sticklers for rules. So I'm just liking them as a company. And if you use a server on Linode, like if you want to set up your own XMPP server, which you can do, the app is the server application is called Prosody. If you install Prosody on your Linux server, you can set up your own XMPP if you don't trust anybody else. Like if you're a corporate user, you will probably want to set up a private XMPP. That's certainly fine. And you can use Linode, and you can use the smallest Linode to set up XMPP. You don't need much. You can set up a XMPP on a $5 server. So I'm not running a $5 server on it, but I have, gosh, so many servers on Linode, tons of them. I can't even count. I mean, I don't know how many servers I have on Linode. It's a lot. It's a lot. If I look in the dashboard, it's like pages and pages of them. I have a ton of servers. So, and one of the servers that I'm going to offer later on is to allow you to set up your own email server on Linode. It has to be on Linode so we can kind of manage it. And we can set up your own email server if you have a Linode account. And then so we dial into your Linode account, set up your server, then you can change the password and then lock us out. So if you want to do that. So anyway, it's a good company, and wouldn't recommend them if they're not a good company. I don't have too many sponsors. I only have 2 current sponsors, and not interested in sponsors really. So I have to, have a good reason to accept a sponsor. The money is not significant enough to be worried about. So in any case, how about that Facebook thing, guys? Any reactions to Facebook? What do you think about Facebook? What do you think about the whistleblower? I'm not sure. I haven't decided if I should make a video. But what do you think about Facebook? Thank you, Chuck. Thank you. Somebody was complaining that I was offering an email service. As you know, I started my Braxmail email service. It's live now. It's in production, and it's doing well. And many of you sign up, and I appreciate that. Why go to Google, Apple, Microsoft, and Yahoo when you can have a email that's not being profiled for mere $50 a month, where you don't have to $50 a year, not a month, a year. And so it's very little money, and you can be happy that no one's going to be spying on you. Plus, it hides your IP address. So yeah, it's somebody made a comment that why am I offering that? Kind of like saying I'm being disingenuous and so on by offering these services, like I'm here to to milk you of money. I mean, I can't correct whatever you guys think. Some of you may think that, and that's okay. The point of the matter is, many of you have asked me to provide these services, and when I started doing these videos, I wasn't making any money or a dime, and I just wanted to give you a service. And as I find flaws in the environment, and I started to come up with a service. The reason I came up with a VPN, for example, was because I got screwed by PIA. I had a PIA account. I was a big promoter of PIA. PIA was giving me a fairly big commission for referring them. So it was, seemed like a good deal. It didn't make sense for me to do my own VPN and provide my own infrastructure for very little additional profit. The problem was PIA started to play games and to lock us out, lock ports, and putting limitations. And I, it's like, zuck that. Why would I go to a service that starts to lock up, port 25, port 465, port 993, all the email ones, because they're dealing with bad players. It's because the kind of people who go use them are spammers and, bad guys. And because of that, they have to deal with that issue, and their reaction is to lock you down. So that's why I started a VPN service. It's not, at the time I didn't know that I had to do that, and I just saw the need, and I created a product, and here you are, a couple of years later, and we have a good number of people on a VPN already. So which is, it's kind of heartwarming to see how many of you support me with the VPN and the VPN routers, and that alone is it's a good number now. And then how about the thousands and thousands of you who bought phones? I bought these Google phones. I mean, I've sold a lot of these. So it's just a service. A lot of you are not technical, and I talked about this, and I wanted to offer a solution. And before too long, too many of you asked for one because you don't want to do it. And apparently most of the market don't know how to flash their phone, so we offered a service. Nothing special about us. If somebody knows how to do them, you can go to them. We're not doing anything that unusual, but we're doing it for you. And so you support me there. And again, we're just providing a service. This email is the same thing. You ask me that there's a need, and I can't recommend a company because I really can't, because there's nothing that shows me I can trust a company that I can recommend. So then I started one. And I guess it's good for all of us. I'm providing a service, and I'm able to sustain this channel and through all that. So that's kind of neat that we have this symbiotic relationship here, where I'm able to do this. And again, you don't have to come to me. There's other email services out there. There's other VPN services out there. There's other people who do phones. And you don't have to have me do it. There's always a choice someplace else. But since thousands and thousands of people have bought these from me, if they're unhappy, if thousands of people have bought VPNs, thousands of people have bought phones, and many of you now doing emails, if you're unhappy with this chat here or there, I guess, or I don't know, I guess below, depending on the platform, right? So the chat will be full of people complaining, and as you can see, that doesn't happen because I give you assurances that I will not cheat you, and I want to make sure everybody's happy. If you want your money back, you get your money back. If you're happy with the service, I appreciate it. We do the best we can. So if we make a mistake, you want your money back, no problem. So, okay. So, yeah. So thank you, Jason. So a lot of you have my phones. I mean, it's probably, how many of my subscribers have phones? It probably is a good percentage, right? So they not only watch my videos, they have the phones, a VPN, or a good chunk of you have something. So appreciate it. So it makes the channel more successful than it would be if I didn't have these services. If I just relied on ads, there would be no way to survive. So I really appreciate it, the effort, and I will do more. So some of the future services I will offer will be to offer your own email server. If you don't trust my server, you can trust my server. I'm promising you can trust my server, because that's what I'm here for. But if you want to really have a trustless relationship, have your own email server, and also because you may need multiple email accounts, and it's cheaper to have your own server if you're going to have multiple email accounts. For example, if you're going to have a dozen email accounts, then it's cheaper to have set up your own server. So if you want to do that, we can provide that service now with some limitations. And although we're able to do that today, I have to write a manual, and it will take me a month to write the manual. So I don't want to rush it. So maybe I'll try, doing a beta test of, one account. And I don't want to charge too little for it, because I know what it takes to do an email service. So I don't want to be a company that charges the lowest fee and then end up in the end with too much overhead, and then we can't maintain it. So in this case, I'm basically saying that we can set up a server and run it for around $40 a month. So that's and then you have to pay for your own server, which is $5 a month. So that's what I'm thinking right now. Some people say, well, there's some cheaper options, slightly cheaper options, like some charge less on the renewal. I'm not sure I want to do that, because in order to do this well, you really have to make sure you update the server. There's some things to do, and it's really a lot of work. Email server is a lot of work, and it entails a lot of resources to maintain it. And if I charge too little, I may not be able to maintain it, and then you'll just get upset. So it has to be worth it, because I have to hire people to do it. If I end up losing money, I just drop the business, and you don't want that. You want the business to succeed, so it's a long run thing. So because of that, I'm not really thinking of lowering the price at this moment, even though some have asked me. So I just set up the email product right now. I know how much work it is, and there's no documentation. So you really have to, and I've been doing email server for a long time, decades, and I still had to go figure a lot of stuff out. So even after decades of doing, I still have to do a lot of figuring out. And I should be an expert at this by now, but the problem is that the world keeps changing. So, and I think it will continue to change. So if we're going to maintain it, we're going to have to, basically redo it every year. There's going to be something we got to do. So for that reason, I'm thinking that it is going to be $40 a month, paid annually. So it's going to be $480 a year for the service, to service a email server, and for some minimal setup. If you do incur multiple services, like you keep adding email addresses and so on, that may be additional fees of $50 per incident if you go beyond the standard setup. So it's not much if you're a corporation or somebody bigger that has a lot of users. It's not really a big deal, but I just want to make sure it's sustainable. And I don't mean environmentally sustainable. I mean talking about sustainable for business. If it's not sustainable, then it's not going to be good for you. So in order for it to be sustainable for all, it's got to be win-win. You guys are happy with my Google phones, because hopefully we do a good job and deliver you the best we can, and and you like it, and you come back and say, okay, it's a good deal. Those who don't like it because they're more used to iPhones and iOS, we take it back, no problem. Okay, what's the best browser to use today in Windows and Android? I have a video on that already. Do I really need to go through that? That's a recent video. Yeah. The answer is called browser isolation. Go watch that video, browser isolation. That's in the title. Okay, that's what you do for browsers, which in summary means use multiple browsers. Multiple, not one, multiple browsers. Do not ever think about using, do not follow Nacho here, Nacho Business, saying use Brave. I don't just use Brave. I use simultaneously. Right now, I have Chrome, Brave, and Firefox. And on a Mac, I would have Chrome, Brave, Firefox, and Safari. Depends on the machine. Multiple browsers. And where am I going to do YouTube? Chrome. Some of you say, I hate Chrome. I hate Google. If you're going to go to YouTube, go to Chrome. Give them what they want. Start Page is not a browser. Start Page is a search engine. Do not zucking use Opera. I'd never mention Opera. Come on, guys. If you're using Opera, you're CCP. Okay, that's a CCP. Browser. Don't use that. It's like saying, I want to use BlackBerry. And you really haven't researched BlackBerry. BlackBerry is not the original BlackBerry. The BlackBerry that was from Canada, they sold that. BlackBerry is an Android, standard Android from China. They just bought the name. So do not use BlackBerry. You cannot de-Google a BlackBerry. So you use Facebook. Opera has always been owned by China. Hello, Donnie. I haven't seen you in Brax, Donnie. Opera has always been owned by a Chinese company for a long, long time now. Yeah. So Opera was bought by a Chinese company. Oh my gosh, it's 8 years ago, a long time ago. Okay, and then what they do on Opera is they offer you a free VPN, and people say, "Oh, let's use Opera. It's a free VPN." You're zucked up. Okay, you don't put a VPN on a browser. A VPN is supposed to be for your entire internet, not for browsing. So when you say VPN on a browser, it's not a VPN. It's a proxy server, which means they actually see what you're doing. They actually can see every website you visit. They can profile you, can do all that. So no zucking way am I going to use Opera. No way. What about the phone Honor? That sounds very dishonorable to me. What about the phone Honor? Twice now. Like I said, it sounds very dishonorable. Probably encouraging Opera on a Huawei phone. The connection, aka the socket. Right. Can Xmpp be hacked by Nza Yet? With OMemo, not likely. Xmpp is very, very secure. Open source. Yeah. Somebody's donating their Librem 5 to me. So, as you know, I don't have my Librem 5 yet. And the company is just, I don't really have anything positive to say about Purism right now. They're kind of flaky. So I bought my phone and they just sent me an email, and I'm on the Evergreen batch, which was supposed to have been released already after 2+ year wait. And now they just emailed me and they're saying, maybe next year, maybe 12 months. We're going to be shipping it over the next 12 months. So basically, I got to wait till next year to get my Evergreen batch. And it's like, zuck. The phone is so old now. I mean, why would I even want it? Why would I even want it now? So anyway, somebody's going to donate their Librem 5 to me so I can go study it, since I don't have anything to study. So do I recommend a Librem 5? Hell no. No, they have to prove themselves. No. The best phone is... I'm going to make another video about this. Either this next coming one, or if I do a Facebook video, then it'll be the next one. But so far, the Google phones have really, they're tried and tested. They are really good. Guys, the Google phones are utterly amazing. I mean, I got one here, and mine is a Pixel 4. I mean, awesome. What can I say? There's like, you know, every time I think about possible holes in my security and privacy, and I'm looking for a hole in the Google phone, and I can't find one. To this day, I haven't found a hole. Now, obviously, not everything works on it, and that's the pain, because we got some parties that are doing things that are not working on it, but that's their fault. The Google phone itself, you know, if you're willing to forgo a lot of that, it's a pretty awesome instrument. Now, I have a second phone that is Googled, and I have a video why I had to do that, primarily because I was forced by YouTube to do two-factor authentication. So I have a second phone, and I have to tell you that I don't really use it. It's off. It does have a SIM card at the moment. I don't need the SIM card on it, but I need it for two-factor authentication. It's $10 a month, and I think it's $10 a month if I use it. I think it's $6 a month if I don't use it. And I really didn't use it this month, so this month I might be down to $6. So when you use it, it's $10. If you don't use it, it drops down to $6. So $6 a month, no use. Okay, no problem. But at least it's there for emergencies. And it's a Google phone, so if I need to do anything Google, I can do it on that. Somebody asked me this question, guys. Somebody asked me this question. What if you wanted to do iOS? Can you do it? Now, I do have an iOS phone. I'm not going to lie to you. I do have an iOS phone. I don't use it. It's powered off, and I don't use it. And then I thought about it, and I actually need an iPad. And the reason is there are no more tablets. They don't sell tablets anymore. The only one selling tablets right now is, I don't even know if there's a brand new Galaxy tablet. I don't think so. So I think the only company now selling tablets is really just Amazon, and with the Kindle tablets and iOS iPad. So you're basically left with no choice. So I actually thought about this. Somebody asked this question. And what happens if you get an iPad and you basically don't really do anything to it other than, it doesn't leave the house, it doesn't do anything. You're using it to watch a movie or reading or whatever, but you don't really use it for anything intensive. It doesn't travel. Location is off. Does it really cause any privacy issues? And I thought about it, and let's be honest, if you're not using it, there's not much data. So because I'm not really using it, and some of you have asked if it's possible to do it, I guess I can't think of anything negative right now, because what is it going to track if you're not using it? The idea of a phone is you're tracked when you do browsing on it, and they see what you're doing on it, and you go travel with it. It's a phone. They got location tracking. They know where you're going with it. But an iPad, it really not that kind of device. It just sits there. So I don't kind of know what kind of data they're ever going to get if you're not even using it for much of anything other than media consumption. For media consumption purposes, I think there isn't much data. So I'm not going to bother. So if you want to get one, we got to take advantage of the technology where we can, knowing where the flaws are. The flaws are in the phone. So if you have an iPhone, if you have a Android phone, the tracking occurs, but they don't really track, when you're not doing anything with it. So, what do you use for crypto apps? That's probably fine. After the serpent made a couple eat an apple, the phones are getting as big as the tablets anyways. The Chrome tablets are being used for every student. That's different. Chrome tablets, too much tracking on Chrome. See, Chrome forces you to use Google Docs and that whole infrastructure, Gmail. So it's Chromebook is different. It's basically just a client to the Google infrastructure. It forces you to use their stuff. I don't even use iCloud on my iPad, but I use it for music because I can put the music on it. When you see me on the gig, there's an iPad there because I have the my tunes on it, and I'm just using it for that primarily, and it's just primarily for music. But there's no personal data on it. There's nothing. I'm not doing anything on it to be tracked. So you smash the like. Thank you, Kamakaze, not kamikaze. The end of the day profit. Hello, music. Yes. So anyway, I'm not going to be a stickler for someone to say you cannot use this device. You always think, what data are they taking from the device? Well, let's not do this with overkill. Some people are, adamant that you have to use Linux, and yes, you will be better off on Linux. But I'm no stickler here. I mean, I'm using Windows right now. Now I know how to set up Windows so it doesn't spy on me. So nobody. So I'm using Windows right now. I know how to set it up, and I don't have any particular identity here. And what am I using Windows for? Doing videos. I mean, doing live streams. Other than that. So on this computer, I mean, I had different computers, but this computer. So so if you isolate, it's kind of like device isolation in a way. If you use each device and you don't really do much in each device, in total, they're not going to get any significant information out of it. And there's, I'm not logged into anything here. There's nothing really going on for them to track. Besides, like I said, there is no device fingerprint on a computer. On a computer, it's browser fingerprint. So, and the only ones that will browser fingerprint you are Google and Facebook. I don't use Facebook, so that's out. The other one that will browser fingerprint me is Google, and I have Chrome for that. I do browser isolation. So on a computer, if you do browser isolation, no big deal. Nothing to do. Now, in one case, I do have that Google Android. What do I do in that Google Android? Everything Google is on there, but I don't do anything. It's always off. So what are they going to track? It's basically my proof that I have a phone, because they require it now for YouTube. So to be a creator, you got to have a Google phone. Okay, fine. So now I have a Google phone. Now what? What are they getting from it? Only what I feed them on it. So I'm not going to worry about it. We just have to plan what the opposition is. And it's not like hard and set rules. You always have to think, what data are they actually acquiring from this? What data are they acquiring? Is it worth the effort to say, I won't get this device or that device because you're worried about it? I'm going to tell you as a fact that for my everyday use, my daily driver, I use this. This is the only thing that comes with me. Okay? And I can't really think of anything that this is going to reveal. I've never logged into this phone. So I don't even use the phone. I don't even call anybody. So, the government can listen to your phone calls on a baseband modem, right? Government can always listen to you on a baseband modem or do texting. I hardly ever text because I use Signal with family. I can't think of anything important they can get since I don't hardly make any phone calls. So, and even then, if I make a phone call, big deal. There's nothing. No, I'm not the nothing to hide kind of person. We all have something to hide, whether we like it or not. We need to hide anything that can profile us. But I really, quantify what I do on the phone, and I say, from what I'm gathering here, I think it's pretty safe. Should we update iPhone to iOS 15 to these new privacy updates? Good. There is one iOS 15 update that, Some of them are good, yes. Uh, the hidden email. Hidden email is good. Yeah, and they keep it organized for you. Yeah, I like it. Hidden email's good. That's yeah. I mean, it's not perfect. Email, they can read it, but it's not worse than anything else. But at least it basically stops the Googles of the world. Well, you can't stop Google because you got to use Gmail. So the Apple hidden email will not work for Gmail because Gmail you got to use Gmail. So it's not going to work for Gmail. So Google is safe there, but on another platform, yeah, it's good. Not that I want to use iOS. If you were going to ask me, because I know it's like time to buy computers, and some of you are very big Apple fans. I'm not. I have a Mac right here. In fact, the Mac is sitting right here underneath the Windows computer. I have a MacBook Pro here, and I haven't really used it. And the question is, do I really trust using a MacBook Pro, MacBook Air, which those M1 chips, they are really looking amazing. Those M1 chips. So the question is, would I even consider using it? Computers are generally safer. Even a Mac. Computers are generally safer than a phone. So though you may not get me to ever use an iPhone again, I for limited use, I'm actually thinking a computer like a Mac may not be a bad idea, depending on what you're doing. For example, for video editing, the Mac M1 it would be superior. So, the only problem is those stupid Macs don't have any docking ports. But other than that, I'm not tied to any platform. I can switch to Linux, Windows, or Mac day in, day out. I use all of them. So my only thing is the spying. But a computer can't really do much spying on you. A computer is not capable of doing that much spying. The spying occurs in a browser. The computer itself, if set up right, doesn't really do much spying. So my suggestion is use a computer. Any, preferably Linux. But if you can't handle that, because the reason I got to use Windows or a Mac is because I got to use Adobe Premiere Pro, which doesn't run on Linux. So I'm kind of, it's kind of a functionality thing. So I can use Linux all day if I don't have to do that. But because I cannot, I got my servers are all Linux. 100% of my servers are Linux. So I am more of a Linux server guy more than a Linux desktop guy. So recommend a small, simple PC. It depends on what you need. There's so many good PCs around. There, for general purpose use, probably one of the best is an Dell XPS 13. It's just like lightweight and powerful and just an overall general good computer, Dell XPS 13. I don't have one. You want to spend less money, you can buy Lenovo Yoga or X1 Carbon. They're good. They're good computers. But for me, I can't use those. They're not powerful enough. So for me, I need something higher grade. So my current laptop is a MSI with an NVIDIA card, and so it's much more powerful computer with the graphics card built in. So because of what I do, I need something that can handle video editing. So I can't do the small computers. But for the average user, you want a powerful computer. You can't really go wrong with some of these ultralight. So the category is called an ultralight. So the Dell XPS 13. The one I'm using here is an HP Spectre X360. XPS 13 is better than this, in my opinion. There are things I don't like about it. It's lightweight though, which I like. But Dell XPS is probably better than this. And if you want some inexpensive Linux computers, I found, I have a video on Star Labs, which I did a video on, and they've been really nice to me. And even though they're in the UK, I've had some repairs that I had to do, and they did it for me, and it was actually inexpensive to even ship it to them, and they took care of it. And you can even fix it yourself, but there was a problem. I tried to fix it myself. There was an issue. I gave it to them. They fixed it, sent it back inexpensively. And so Star Labs from the UK, was very good. My main complaint with my Star Labs, which was a Linux computer, was that the keyboard was a UK keyboard, and much as I wanted to get used to that, when you're switching computers all day as I do, because I shift between all this, I don't even like shifting between a Mac and Windows. So it's between Mac and Windows, the keyboard is already different, so I don't like it. So thought we weren't supposed to update to 15. Are you talking about iOS 15, or are you talking about... I don't use iOS. So, but I bought a new iPad, and that's going to be iOS 15, so I guess I can't help it. But what is it going to do? Do contact tracing? It doesn't leave the house. So just don't, I really don't recommend that you use an iOS phone. I don't care what they promise. It's just not good for you. Get a Google phone. I don't care if you use a Mac. I don't care if you use other devices for home use. But for the one that is revealing everything you do, which is the phone, be more private with that. System 76 is good too, kind of on the upper end. They're more expensive. And they look very good, yes, and I had reviewed them. The Librem, even more I'm not fond of Purism right now. Purism is a little high price for what they give you. So I probably, use System 76 for Linux as well. It's very good. High marks for System 76. There's a new computer a company called Frame.work, where you can build your own, but the problem is you have to pre-order them. You order one, when are you going to get it? It's one of these kind of like GoFundMe kind of things, or you fund it and you don't know when you're going to get the computer. Kind of like my, Librem 5 I ordered 2.5 years ago, and they're saying, it's not going to get there till 3.5 years from now. 3.5 years from ordering. That's way too much. Way too much. So, yeah. What do you mean in browser? What is an in browser? Is that a brand? I'm not, what am I missing there? I don't know what an in browser is. I haven't encountered anything called in browser yet. You can put Linux on Macs. Yes, one of the things you can do is on a Mac you can run, or Windows, you can run virtual machines, which is a good way to learn Linux. Yeah, exactly. What is in browser? I have no idea. So, hello, Purism. Refund, please. I actually, many of you bought the Librem 5 with me when we all ordered from Librem 5 from Purism. And all of us don't have the phone yet. So, yeah. So, crazy. 52 more days. 52 more days to what? Christmas? What is 52 more days? Yep. So, anyway, I'm not going to go promote Purism. They have to prove themselves here. Have you heard of Start 9 or Umbre? No. Pinebook. Pinebook is... kind of a toyish. It's a little underpowered. It's kind of like a Raspberry Pi. Inexpensive Linux tablet. and looks like fun, more toy-like. Probably not, not in the same. I mean, you got to understand what you're using that for. I mean, come on. An iPad's gonna run, rings around. An iPad is as powerful as a desktop now. An iPad has an M1 chip. It's as powerful as a desktop. So, I mean, it could probably run faster than a desktop now. So, I mean, that's not in the same league as a Raspberry Pi, which is the league of a Pinebook. So Pinebook is great. It's cheap. So for so little money, it's a nice little device for a secondary device. But you might get impatient for daily use because it doesn't really, if you try to like watch a movie on it, it'll be kind of slow. So, I mean, for those wanting to play with Linux, it's a good deal. Look at DWEBX. No, I don't know what that is. What CPU recommended after all the Spectre meltdown problems? Good question. I don't really know, because obviously there's no solution to all that. I hope they fix that on newer CPUs though. I actually don't know. I don't know. They don't really tell you. So I don't know if those problems are fixed on new CPUs. So I change computers every year. So, every year I can go try a different one. Low cost system at a point 100 more increases the experience massively. Yes, if you're talking about the Pinebook. Yeah, it's really, really cheap, but it could be a good secondary device for. I can find some. Thank you. For example, on a boat, if I use it for maybe to monitor something like an instrument, and I want to have a cheap computer to do that, a Pinebook is a great idea. That actually sounds good. Because you can't buy a Raspberry Pi, put a monitor on it and all that for cheaper than a Pinebook. Pinebook would be probably the cheapest way to do a little computer with the interface already done. So that's a good selling point for that. But for real, heavy personal use in the house, probably not. I think AMD wins. Depending what you're doing, the M1 is incredible, at least for video editing. So, without heating up, I run my MSI Creator 15, big zucking device with a lot of power. And when I'm doing a video, I can cook an egg. Whenever I'm rendering a video for you guys, before I post it, and I'm rendering the video, I cannot put it on my lap. It's hot. Burning hot. You can cook an egg. So, yeah. So, just train a lobster to do the backup for you, cheaper than... What? Tor encrypted in browser. Tor encrypted in browser. Is that like an extension? Why do that? Just use I don't understand the point of that. Just use a VPN. Just like, when you use Tor, Tor is made for specialty use. It's not something you can use every day. It's very slow. So if you're going to use a Tor in browser, or basically a tab that has Tor in it, just run Tails in a virtual machine. It's just more secure, and all of your traffic is more protected. So no. Don't rely on a browser. You see, a browser is only HTTPS. What protects your DNS? What protects your email? What protects all the different ports? What if you go SSH, SFTP, all of that? They go different ports. and you don't have any protection from Tor when it's not 443 and port 80. So it's a very limited thing to put Tor on a browser. The only thing I recommend is Tor on sockets like Tails or my VPN router. My VPN router can be a Tor router. That's the only way I would use Tor, but the problem is Tor's slow, so you can't use it every day. So, for example, in a typical setup that I would recommend, if you really want to use Tor, I would set up 2 Brex routers. One as a VPN, one as Tor, and one as and then your regular open router. Then you have a choice. You just change Wi-Fi's to determine where you're going to go. But you can't use Tor like as a daily driver for browsing. Half the websites will block you. Half. So can Xmpp on a mesh network without the internet? Yes. Yeah. Xmpp can run. Yeah. Absolutely, you can do that. Xmpp just requires an IP address to connect to Xmpp, and if you have a client, you can connect. So without an internet, yes. So you can use it internally in an internal network. Let's say you can do an internal Xmpp server with all clients that's connecting to the host, only visible internally inside like a business network, and you can't see it from outside. Yes, absolutely. And it's completely encrypted where the people in IT can't read what you're saying. That should be the proper corporate system, Xmpp. Yes, for corporate communications. Why are they not doing that? Email is very stupid for corporate communications. Xmpp Mac OS client is what is the Mac OS client? Didn't I say? Oh my gosh, I can't remember. What is the Mac OS client? Okay, you know what? I forgot to research that because I don't use Mac OS. I forgot what is best to use for maybe Gajim has Mac. Gajim may work. So you have to research Xmpp client and then say Xmpp client for Mac OS. Gajim might have one because Gajim has one for Linux. So if it has one for Linux, it wouldn't be much to expect it can work on a Mac. So it doesn't work on a browser, no. I have a physical book filled with passwords if my signature password gets exposed. Blabber has been the best client for Android. Now, that's the old one. Conversations is better. Conversations has OMemo support. Some of the old Jabber, Blabber, whatever, all the old apps don't support OMemo. Any thoughts on Windows 11? Now, I don't have Windows 11 yet. I'm not one of those that spent the time to get an advanced copy because that's not really what I do. I have some worries about it regarding being forced. Somebody said that you're going to be forced to log into Windows. You're forced to log into Windows even on a normal Windows 10, but you can log out and then establish a local user, and then from then on you're no longer connected to the Microsoft ID. I'm not connected to a Microsoft ID on my Windows here, on any Windows computer. Even my employees, they all use whatever. Some of them are on Windows, some are on Linux, and they're not on any Microsoft ID. Windows in general is insecure. They all are anyway. So Windows in general is more of a target, correct? I agree with that. So if you know conversation, then you will feel at home in Blabber. Yeah, but does Blabber support OMemo? Go check. Go check if OMemo is supported. You have tested over 20 different Xmpp clients. Which one do you like, Anders? So Blabber is one you recommend? Blabber's the winner? Okay, we will test out. Okay, Anders there says he likes Blabber. Just make sure that it has support for Omemo. Okay, Synology NAS as an alternative cloud service. It has the same problem with saying putting Nextcloud at home. Same exact issue. The IP address. Will you actually remember? If you're not a techie, will you remember what the IP address is of your NAS server or your Nextcloud server? Otherwise, it would be great. But if you can't, you have to put it in the cloud. So conversations is the one that I'm familiar with. It's what I used. I'm not familiar with Blabber, but I will test it out. If it supports Omemo, then yeah. If Anders here said it's good. So yeah. So just make sure it has support for Omemo, and there's some other things that there's a kind of feature list, which conversations all support. So I like it. And I also, is there a better one for Windows? I use Gajim, but if there's a better one, let me know. So it's visible is just MVNO. There's TJ Davis. There's only 3 carriers in the U.S. So when you're saying is visible carrier safe, that's not the right question, TJ Davis. The right question is AT&T, T-Mobile, or Verizon safe? They're all the same, meaning they're all unsafe. So, no, it is what it is. So, yes, I use Gajim for Windows, but I'm open to somebody researching and telling me something's better. Yep has Omemo. Oh, it's a fork of conversation. Okay, so Blabber. Anders there recommends Blabber instead of conversations. And we need to check that out. If Blabber's better, I'm going to change to Blabber. He said it's good. So we can test it out. We can test out many things. I'm okay with that. That's the thing about XMPP. You can change clients all day. Linux does have a very graphical client like Dino. Linux will function well for most people. The problem is that installing apps is not necessarily obvious because sometimes you got to do command line. And some people are afraid of that. For example, some people will say, well, I don't want to use Ubuntu. I'm going to use Mint or Manjaro. And then they're faced with a different interface and they say, oh, how do you install an app? And they don't know how to use Yum versus APT. And Linux has so many variations. And even installing a simple thing as a VPN is kind of complicated on Linux. And, they got to standardize. I mean, everybody... There's 5 million distros, and everyone's trying to come up with something slightly different, and the differences are very slight. And it confuses the people who are using desktop clients. I am not a Linux desktop expert. For Linux desktop expertise, you go to like DistroTube and, Chris Titus and some of these other guys who do this, who make these other kind of videos. They're the experts at Linux desktop. I am actually very good at Linux servers. So when it comes to Linux servers, I can go head to head against anyone. But because I myself am running. Every day I run quite a few servers here. I'm running many servers. Okay. So, just the VPN alone, how many servers do I have there? So, plus all the different servers I have. So, yes, I'm very experienced with Linux. I do everything on Linux from SQL to, custom programming things. And, I've done every kind of server imaginable. I do restreaming and this. I've done everything. I've done any number of things on servers. So I'm definitely a server expert. So Do I know the latest on every distro? No, that is not my field. So you can go to Chris Titus and DistroTube. Like DistroTube is seems to me to be one of the more detailed ones. He really knows the stuff on the clients. At the level that he really investigates at a level I don't even have any experience with. But when it comes to the internals of how Linux works, and if you want me to tell you, how Linux works, I have videos where I actually went deep into how Ubuntu Touch works, which is Linux on a phone, down to like the nitty gritty of how that works with how it boots and init and all. I know all that. I understand Linux pretty well. So there are people who still even know more. But I know enough to be deadly. So I probably can't make a distro. I don't have the skill set to make a distro, but I can at least use it. So mostly I use Debian for servers before, and just for simplicity, I use Ubuntu 20.04 for most of my servers now. But before, I started out using every server of mine was Debian, and but I found that just to be consistent, with packages, you kind of have to go with something that's, because I don't want to waste time when I'm setting up servers. It's got to be like very predictable, and so I use Ubuntu servers because it's predictable. Now some people say, well, you're going to be spied on by Ubuntu. That's the Ubuntu desktop. I'm dealing with Ubuntu servers. How do you get a Pine phone? If you just ask around, somebody's probably going to sell you one right here. Many people are have Pine phones that they want to get rid of. No, Pine phone is not yet quite ready, but I mean, for the little price of it, I mean, it's very cheap. It's great to play with, for a couple $100. Sure, I'll play with it. So I have a Pine phone, and but if you want to do anything serious, probably not. Let's see. I'm out of time here, so I would love to see a show getting further into using ham radio for encrypted messages. You can't. That's the problem. You can't do encryption on ham radio. Linux Liberboot. I can't say that I have much to say, knowledge-wise, as far as Liberboot, because that's offered to me on my Star Labs. So again, not my expertise. So kind of like desktop level stuff, not my expertise. Somebody like DistroTube might know more about that, but not. I just haven't researched it, so it's just not. It's not my area that I actually have researched. It's not really. It's not really privacy related for me. I mean, it may be security related, but not necessarily privacy related. ICOM 7100 digital is almost encrypted on it. No, you can't do encryption on it. But what's a new ICOM? The QRP one, 70. Is that the 7100? No, the new one. What is it? That's QRP. Portable QRP. Because that was kind of fun. I actually was looking at that. Could be nice for the boat. Gifted Worm said, heard Red Hat put device ID in the new versions of Ubuntu. Put device ID in the new versions of Ubuntu. Yeah, I mean, you can check that easily with source code. Yeah, I am not a desktop client user. I can tell you right now that device ID on a server is a meaningless concept because the server is a copy. When I do a server, I don't start from scratch and install it. I actually copy an existing server. So meaning, I instead of starting from scratch, you start with a server that already has some features, and then you copy, so it's identical to the last one. So what device ID? Then it'll be the same one. So on a server, it probably doesn't apply. So on a desktop, that's 705. Yeah, see, I forgot already. I was looking at it a couple of months ago. I was looking at it during the summer, and I said, this is available. I might consider buying this because I don't have an ICOM. I have my HF radio is QRP. I wanted something more powerful than a QRP. So I actually was considering a 7300, ICOM 7300. But because of the boat setup, it's for the boat. That's where I would put it. Rob has created his own playlist and usually suggests new folk go through the one called Privacy Topics first. Is there any update to quantum computers for hacking XMPP servers? That's not. No. You're going to hack individual. I lost the light here. You're going to hack individual connections? No. That's not realistic. I might do a video on quantum computers again soon. So that might be something I might do for later on, maybe later this year. So we'll see. I want to really update that because I did videos on that and live streams, but I haven't really done a real video on it since. So yeah, it's my LED light. It looks like it ran out of power. So because I've been here for a long time. So thank you guys. I'm out of time. So thank you for watching, and again, check out the latest video if you haven't done that. It's really informative. It makes you really think about how to plan out your email life. Thank you for watching, and see you next week. I forgot to talk about Facebook. Well, we'll save that. I have commentary on it, but we'll save it for later on. Okay, guys. Good night. See you later. Bye-bye.